but that doesn't mean that you can't do it either. This is a skill that's honed, that can be learned, and it should be learned. So welcome everybody, this is Gull Khan, your money mindset expert, and we are talking today about the need to set clear boundaries. Okay, so we're on step number 6. Now this is essential, okay? I've called it your family paradigm. Now, those of you who work with me know exactly, how much I go on about family paradigms, because how you are and what you shaped, how you shaped and how you're programmed is basically done by your family. Your upbringing. You are programmed between the ages of 0 to 7, and that's where most of your programming is done. Now, the problem is, you don't get to choose, what programming has been set for you, what's right and what's wrong, what your limitations are. This is where you have to work out what it is that's been set for you, okay? So for this reason, you have to go and see, how were you raised? How did your parents raise you? What became, what was the norm in your family? So for example, in Asian families, you never speak back to your, to elders. You never speak back to your parents, okay? But to set healthy boundaries, you have to speak up to your parents. You have to say, no, mama, this doesn't agree with me. This doesn't make sense to me. You have to be able to do that. Obviously doing it in a respectful manner. I'm not asking you to be rude to your mom or dad, but for you to be able to set healthy boundaries and say, no, this doesn't work for me, you have to speak up. Another one is, these false expectations from our, relatives, uncles and aunts and so forth. You have to set clear, clear boundaries with your uncles and aunts and siblings and friends and cousins and whatever else. So if you have this thing that you can't speak back to your elders, and you can't speak to your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, you can't speak to your mother and father back, speaking back to mother-in-law, father-in-law, speaking to your mom and dad is rude. How are you going to set clear boundaries? You can't be a doormat either. So you have to recognize that as an adult, you have a responsibility to yourself and responsibility to these relationships to be able to set healthy boundaries. Remember, if you don't set healthy boundaries, you will be disrupting the relationship, because guess what will happen? The resentment will set in. Let me repeat that. If you don't set clear, healthy boundaries, resentment will set in. Doesn't matter which relationship it is, by the way. It doesn't matter if it's your parents, your child, your father, your mother, your brother and sister, whatever. Whichever relationship it is, resentment will settle in and start eating away at the relationship, and it will break the foundation for it, okay? It will be completely, the relationship will either deteriorate, or we get to a point where you're constantly fighting with the individual or resenting the person. And either way, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for you, it's not healthy for the person. So for that reason, regardless of which relationship it is, you have to set healthy boundaries. And this also means, for those of you someone like me, you have to go back and see what your paradigms are, what your family paradigms are. How have you been brought up, and how does that conflict with you setting these clear boundaries? Because I can promise you, and I've called it paradigm for a reason, because paradigms are beliefs which are ingrained into our energy field so much that we don't even question them. Okay, let me repeat that. Paradigms are those beliefs which are ingrained into our energy system so much that we don't even question them. Okay, so for that reason, you have to look back and think, okay, what family paradigms do I have? What have I actually started? What do I believe in? What have I been brought up to believe in? What rules have I been given as a child that I need to live up to? What rules do I need to adhere to be able to function in this family? These are paradigms. And by the way, people, paradigms are harder to break. Beliefs are somehow, you can replace it with a new belief. But if a belief has become a paradigm, it's something that is ingrained part of your psyche. It's going to be more difficult for you to overcome. And if you have those, for example, you can't talk back to your parents, then setting clear, healthy boundaries is going to be more difficult for you. It's more challenging for you. It doesn't mean it's not impossible. It's not possible. It just means it's going to be more of a challenge, and you have to accept that, because if you do think of it as a challenge, you will resent doing it. You will put it up. You won't do it. Make sense, right? So this is the reason why setting clear, healthy boundaries. When you start doing this, you have to see, okay, what's my upbringing in? What's my family paradigm around this, and how am I supposed to behave? How am I expected to behave? Okay, how am I expected to behave? And would I be going against that by setting these healthy boundaries? And most of the times, I can guarantee you will be, okay? Especially if you come from an Asian culture, where with Chinese or the South Asian cultures, they're very similar in terms of the respect towards the elders. And I'm not telling you to be disrespectful. Oh my God, not at all. I'm not saying be disrespectful. I'm just saying lay down healthy boundaries is through respect, but also respect your feelings, okay? Because what does boundaries mean? It means you respect who you are, you have self-respect. Francis, my paradigm is I'm responsible for everyone, I'm the oldest. Yeah, friend, that will be your paradigm. So you have to break free from that. If you feel responsible for all your siblings, guess what your healthy boundaries will be? Nowhere to be seen, because you will think about your mother, your siblings, and your family, and everybody else before yourself. And if you do that, you'll never be in the picture. You'll never have time. So if somebody, your brother or your sister, your mother or father ask you for something, you'll have to go and do it for them, and you can't say no. And if you can't say no, they're on a boundary. So absolutely, Fran, absolutely. You will definitely have to lay down, break through that paradigm that you're responsible for everybody. If you're the oldest, you're not. Being the eldest does not make you responsible for anyone. Absolutely. You yourself as a person are responsible for your own happiness, and everybody is responsible for their own happiness. You can help them, absolutely, you can help them, but you are not responsible for their happiness. Okay, that's important to know. Please do actually share this video out to people who you think would benefit from this and actually can learn from the points I'm raising today. I think the idea of boundaries is so essential for every single one of us, whether you want to work, be a business person, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a housemaker, or whatever you are. Setting clear boundaries is really essential for your healthy life, for a healthy lifestyle. Okay, so please do share this with everybody. So environmental factors. So this is another thing that I wanted to add. Now this is a bit of a tangent from how you were brought up. So the company you work in, the kind of environment you work in, okay, also influences the kind of expectations from you. Now this can also work if you get married in a particular type of family. If you get married in a particular type of family and they expect you to behave in a certain way, okay, they have their own norms and whatever. Hi, Yasmin. That could be it. In work environment, if you go and work in a company where you're contracted to work until 6, but the norm is to work overtime until 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and if you go home before 8, 9 o'clock, you are seen as somebody who's doing something wrong, or somebody who's going against company norm or company rules, or because everybody else does it but you're not doing it, then you're the odd one out. Okay, again, healthy boundaries. If you're going to have to work more and you think you need the extra time, speak to your manager and get paid for it. Otherwise, don't do the extra hours unless you're somehow work around it. Again, you have to set the healthy boundaries. So again, this is another factor to remember, that if you are in the work environment as well, you need to work out how can you lay down boundaries with there. If everyone around you is working till 8 or 9 as a norm, and you want to leave, but you only need to leave by 6. So what can you do different? And this also can work if you're married into a particular type of family. And I do, because I appreciate it, because I'm being Asian, I know what happens and how much influence in-laws can do. So if you're married into a particular family and they have particular norms or particular ways, for example, the way headscarf or the particular things that they do, then that's another thing that you have to work out. What's your boundaries? What is your limitations? What can you and not do? Okay, again, laying down boundaries is essential. Otherwise, you will start resenting the relationships, and that's exactly what you don't want. Okay, I don't want you to have any resentment towards anyone. By the way, because I'm a money mindset expert, I value my energy and I value the way I think very, very, more above everything else. I don't want to have resentment towards anyone. I don't want to be angry towards anyone, because I want to be rich, not angry. For that reason, you want to keep your vibration high. And if you have resentment towards anyone, resentment is a very low vibrational energy. And if you are resenting anyone, you will lower your vibration immensely, and therefore you will not attract the abundance that I would like in your life. So therefore, it's essential that you don't resent or be angry at anyone. Okay, that's the reason why I'm doing this session today. Okay, so number 8. Now, number 8 is make yourself a priority. Okay. Make yourself a priority. And when we do this, our need and motivation to set our boundaries is that much stronger. Okay, let me repeat this. When we make ourselves a priority, then the need to set clear and healthy boundaries becomes that much stronger. If you make yourself a priority, then you'll make sure that you do set clear boundaries. You'll make sure that you do this monthly audit. You'll make sure that you communicate, you find ways to communicate this to the people, every single individual that you need to send a boundary with, you do it effectively in a way that person can understand. I keep saying this, you communicate in a way that the person understands, not necessarily how you want to say it, how you want to, you want to communicate it. You need the art of great communication is speaking in a way that other people can understand. So you need to communicate this effectively with those people, but you will find ways, you will do it if you are a priority, if you made this a priority. Okay, putting yourself first means it gives you that the energy, the peace of mind and positive outlet to be more present with others and to be there for them. It allows you to be there for your family. It allows you to be there. It allows you, when you make yourself a priority, you know that you are you are important, and therefore it allows you to be there for your essential relationships. Okay, otherwise what happens is when you don't set down clear boundaries, not only are you not present for your essential relationships, like for me with my son and my daughter, but you are also not present for the other work, for your clients, for your spouse, for your wife, for your husband, for your boyfriend, for your girlfriend, for your best friend, because other people are become energy vampires and they're eating into your energy. Now, what are energy vampires? Other people who come and eat into your energy because they need to feed off you. I'm not going to talk about energy vampires, I'll talk about it another time. It's just a quick tip here that there are people like that exist as well. And it is very important, especially as an empath. I'm an empath. So for empaths especially, it's very important that you set clear boundaries so that you don't allow anybody to eat into your energy, because then it will deplete you. And once you're depleted, you don't have the energy or the peace of mind to work on and deal with the important relationships. And this could sometimes be with the important relationship also. It could be that you're giving too much of yourself to your husband, you're giving too much of yourself to your children, you're giving too much of yourself to your parents. And then you find that, you find that you cannot actually, give what's necessary to other relationships, okay? For you to be present and value all relationships, you have to set clear boundaries on all relationships. That's essential, okay? And you make sure that the more important the relationship, the more healthy clear boundaries there are, because you're not overgiving and depleting yourself. If you're depleted, if your tank's empty, you're getting nowhere. Make sense? Now, this is another one which I think is absolutely key, okay? I used to believe that I had the burden for the whole world on my shoulders. I wouldn't ask for help. Number 9 is ask for help, okay? Ask for help. We as especially women, and I think this is prevalent for women, we think we can do all, we can multitask, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, and we don't ask for help. Ask for help is essential. It's essential. It's essential not only just for the work, but also when you sit down, when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like you can't do this, when you think I can't do it. It's too much. We've come to the belief that as women, we have to be superwomen. We have to have amazing businesses. We have to have amazing jobs. And we have to be, perfect cooks and perfect housekeepers and everything has to be perfect. We have to be some kind of superwoman. No, the hell no, we don't. Okay. You can do all of these tasks, when you're juggling, absolutely you can. But you need to ask for help in every sphere. So in work, if you're going to job, ask for help if you need it with the manager or whatever else it is. Okay. Asking for help does not amount to you saying that you're a failure or saying that you're incompetent or saying that you can't handle it. It just means you're human and you need help, okay? But we believe if we ask for help, it means we're somehow belittling ourselves, we are somehow admitting that we're a failure, or we're admitting that we can't do anything. That's not the case. So you need to ask for help, okay? You need to ask for help. And sometimes, it may even be, when you ask for help from a coach, maybe if you're asking for, maybe from a pastor, if you're, or a priest, if you're religious, or a coach, or a mentor, or a best friend, ask for help in emotional support also, especially when you're going through this journey of laying down boundaries as well. Again, it's essential that you ask for help when you start on this journey, because if you have been overgiving for so many years, this is going to be a transitional journey for you. It will not happen overnight. I'm not going to say this is going to happen overnight. Absolutely not. Okay. If you have been overgiving and over delivering all the time and have been just giving and have not set clear boundaries, and you'll know this because you will, if you look within yourself, there were certain people, regardless of how much you love them, you will have an element of resentment towards them. That means you have not set clear boundaries with that individual, and therefore you're resenting that individual now. Okay. That means that you will have this transition period when you will not be able to, be fully present when you're doing this, going through the transition stage, when you're actually setting these clear boundaries. Make sense? Okay, so you'll need help. Get a mentor, get your friend to help you, do even better. My best advice to you guys would be to partner up, get an accountability buddy. Those, by the way, work really, really, really well. Get a mastermind or something, okay? There are certain people that I have masterminds with, and I really help. Even if nothing else, they help me to just grow as a person. Set clear when you're setting clear boundaries. Get help. Ask for help from mentors, from priests, from pastors, from friends, from coaches, etc. Okay. Be patient with yourself and ask for help. Okay. Very, very important. By the way, guys, if you're getting value from this, please do share this video. I really appreciate it. I think as many people as possible need to hear this. Next step, number 10. I've only got 2 more, so not long to go now. Okay. Number 10 I've put down is learning the art of being assertive. Okay. Learning the art of being assertive. Now, I am naturally a very assertive person. It comes with my personality. I'm a very assertive person, and that part was honed in when I did my bar vocational course. So when I became a barrister, I mean, it was one of the things when we speak with authority, and that was part of, not only am I born with it, but it was also trained in part of my training. So when I speak, I can speak with a lot of authority, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it either. This is a skill that's honed, that can be learned, and it should be learned, okay? Being assertive and being rude are 2 different things. Let me repeat that. Being assertive and firm and being rude are 2 different things. Be very assertive without being rude. Be very firm, but without being rude. And this is essential. Jaresh, are you assertive and authoritative? Yes, I'm not authoritative, but I am assertive. But then that comes from my training, because my background is I'm a lawyer, so I would be assertive, wouldn't I? But anyway, now even though intellectually many people know that other people are not mind readers and other people don't know our boundaries, people we just think, oh wait, because I've set these boundaries, other people will know. Well, if you haven't communicated it with them, they won't know. But the next step is, if you don't enforce those boundaries, let me repeat that. If you don't enforce those boundaries, people will not keep to those boundaries. Okay, and it's simple. It's like, you have to say, you don't need to have to say it, you have to communicate it, then you have to stick to it. You have to remind people, and sometimes you have to be assertive. Say, no, actually, this doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. As much as I would love to, for example, if somebody wants you to do a particular thing with them, a particular favor for them, I'll come back to the client example I gave earlier. My client, she was very, she wanted me to do X, Y, Z. I said very clearly, I'm sorry, I'm unable to do this. And these are, I'm not comfortable doing it, whatever. I wasn't rude, but I laid down the boundaries and I communicated assertively, that there was no negotiation on that part. I was not going to do it. And that's how you need to be. You need to lay down the boundaries in a way where it's non-negotiable. You know what your limits are. And once you know where your limits are, those limits are non-negotiable. You should not be negotiating on them. You should not be negotiating something that makes you uncomfortable. You should not be negotiating on things which make you doubt yourself, which make you doubt who you are. And that's why it's essential that you lay down your boundaries, communicate effectively, and then become assertive to enforce those boundaries. So number 10 was be assertive. Number 11 is, okay, so this is what somebody else said before, and it's number 11 is start small. So if you've been behaving in a particular way or been used to behaving in a particular way for so long, for you to jump ahead and start laying down all these boundaries, it's going to be very difficult. So start small. Start with small stuff. Start with baby steps. Pick somebody that you can actually do this easily and effectively with. Be it your brother, be it your mother, be it your father, be it your daughter, be it your son, be it your husband, whatever. And even with those individuals, start small. So start with somebody who will understand you laying down the boundaries, okay? Somebody who will not get offended. Somebody who's very close to you, somebody who may be a friend or something. And with that friend, you start practicing small things, okay? You start practicing small things, and as you build a muscle, because remember, whatever you do is always building a muscle. You're always building a muscle. And the more you practice, the more you build on your muscle, the more you practice this particular skill, the stronger the muscle will get and the stronger the things you can do. So once you can do small things with people you are very comfortable with, then you can do these with people you're uncomfortable with doing. For example, your boss, maybe your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, be your friend, be your uncle, be your aunt, be your mother, your father, whoever. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What it means is you can actually put this into practice with those people who are who are more of a challenge for you. As long as you start practicing this on small scale with people you are already very comfortable with. So I laid these boundaries down, started with my family, which was initially my daughter and my son, then went out and towards my brother and my other things, my family and so forth, okay? And that's basically the point I'm getting at. Number 11 is start small and start with people who are already you're comfortable with, so you know you can lay down the boundaries and they will not get offended. And also people you know how to communicate with. If you know how to communicate with someone, it makes things so much easier. If you don't know how to communicate with someone, you have to do the additional step of communicating with that individual in a language and in a manner which they will understand, okay? So that's an additional hurdle. So for you to get to that point, that's like the next level up. Start with setting, first of all, working clear boundaries, and then start practicing with people who know you, who understand you, and people who you can actually lay down the boundaries with. Hi, Hilda and Yvonne. So I highly recommend, by the way, this is the end of today's training. I've gone over as usual because I thought half an hour wasn't enough. I thought an hour, an hour is not enough. So thank you for joining me, guys. These are my 11 steps. Actually, let me do a quick recap for you. I'll do a quick recap. So the 11 steps are as follows. So number 1 is identification of the 4 areas. Number 2 is tune to feelings. Where are you with each of these person, with each of those things, from becoming comfort to resentment. Number 3 is you communicate effectively to others in a language and in a manner that they will understand. Not how you want it, but in a manner that they will understand. So this can work for you rather than against you, and doesn't give you additional problems. Number 4 is give yourself permission to do this. Do not fall into the trap of guilt and fear of what would other people think if you are laying down these boundaries. How will they see you? What would they think about you? That's not important. You need to give yourself permission to do this. It's essential. Number 5 is practice self-discipline. Do this on a regular basis. So I recommend doing a monthly audit. Once you've done this full exercise, do a monthly audit and see how well are these boundaries being practiced and how people are adhering to it, who's slipping out, where are you slipping into, how are you slipping into old patterns and working on that. Number 6 is working out what your family paradigms are around how what's right and wrong for you, how were you brought up in terms of what you're supposed to be doing. And I say paradigms because paradigms are beliefs which you don't question. They become part of your reality field, they become part of your psyche, and you never question them. So work out what are your family paradigms and how you've been brought up in terms of what is the norm for you. And then if that goes against you setting boundaries, you need to work on that too. Number 7 is environmental factors, which is actually your work environment also. So it could be that you're working 9 to 5, you're supposed to be working 9 to 5, but your work colleagues regularly stay till 8, 9 o'clock, and therefore you feel compelled to stay till 8, 9 o'clock, otherwise you feel the odd one out. Again, your boundaries, you need to work out what can work for you. Number 8 is making yourself a priority. Make yourself priority and make sure you give yourself the time to do this. If you don't, then you don't value yourself, and you also indicate to people that you are not worth it. When you start valuing yourself, when you tell people that you're making yourself a priority, it shows you have self-respect, and that's essential for people, okay? Number 9 is ask for help. Ask for help when you need it, especially when you're setting these boundaries, and also when you're doing these boundaries. Sometimes if you need help with housework, with other things, with other chores, maybe with things at work, with your business, ask for help, okay? Number 10 is learn to be assertive. Once you lay down boundaries, make sure that you get other people to adhere to them, to practice them, and not to be ignored, okay? And number 11 is start small. Okay, so this is what I did with research. Thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who found value in this, I highly recommend that please do share this out to people. As you've seen, there's no pitch, there's no pitch, no BS. Training is purely for benefit. If you find value in it, please do share it with your audience, because I think every single person needs to set clear boundaries and needs to set ways that you can actually communicate effectively to other people so you can have better relationships rather than resentment ones. Bye for now.